Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We're joining you here at the IEN LAN Fest, and it's a big match. Joining me on the desk is going to be Kaizo. My name is Cherry J, and Kaizo, we got two big teams coming up at us. Why don't we get right on into the action?
Yes, sir, we do. We've got semifinals of the AAA high school playoffs here, Cherry. So we have got, well, hang on. Let me make sure I get this right, because we were just talking about the bracket a little bit, and I don't want to give some false information. So we do have Carmel High School, who are coming in off of a 3-0 over Ben Davis High School in their previous round, and then facing off against them is going to be Westfield Varsity, who also, Cherry, are coming in off of a 3-0 over INGDA Varsity. So both of these teams coming in feeling pretty hot going into the semifinals, eyes on that all-important final spot, and definitely anticipating that things could be going very well for them today.
See, I'm really glad you brought that up, Kaizo, because I was using the other link we were given a little bit earlier, and I totally thought it was the other semifinalist match. So, okay, well, thank you for correcting me there. So, ladies and gentlemen, just to give a little bit of a background, Westfield, they're coming in as our number 5 seed. Indiana Gateway, they were the number 4 seed. They were hit by the upset, and we've seen a lot of upsets this bracket, whether or not it was Penn beating Indiana Digital Learning School, the 10 seed beating the 7, or HSE going on a little bit of a miracle run, which we might be seeing later on April 10th, but this isn't just another one where it is going to be our number 5 seed taking on that number 1. So if you're a betting man, Carmel, they're definitely the team to bet on since they are that number 1 seed, the highest coming into the playoffs. But we've seen time and time again that those playoff seeds are not necessarily set in stone. So I don't know about you, Kaizo, but I'm definitely thinking this could go either way.
Yeah, man, and if you know anything about March Madness and brackets and all that happy stuff, then you know that this one definitely could be going either way. You gotta have your Cinderella story at the end of the day. You gotta have important people helping you get there. So we want to give a huge shout out to Zotac Gaming for helping us to power today's stream, because it's thanks to their incredible support that we're able to bring this broadcast to all of you at home and help to showcase this amazing talent that we have in the Scholastic esports scene. So if you guys want, you can help show your appreciation for Zotac Gaming by giving them a shout out on social media, and make sure that you join their community Discord, and don't forget to use the hashtag powered by Zotac or hashtag Zotac USA when you post. And again, down underneath us here you can see that Zotac Gaming logo. ZOTAC is how you spell that one and how you get involved with them. Shout outs to Zotac, thank you for helping us out.
For sure. And as you were saying, Carmel Westfield, let's see, because this is the game. This is where it happens. The March Madness bracket, it's a 9.2, what is it, quintillion chance of getting it correct. This one, a little bit less teams, a little bit more action, and you would expect this to be a little bit more set in stone. However, as you can imagine, it definitely is not going to be that way. And I could just imagine the storyline. Number 5 seed versus number 11 seed as our grand finalists. That would be absolutely absurd. But there's also still the chance that we will see that number 1 versus number 2, which you would kind of expect based off of the main season, going certainly in the favor of Carmel. So with a number 1 seed, they're also going to be the home team for this matchup. I'm not entirely sure if you have more information on that, Kaizo, but at least it sounds cool for comparing it against the away team as your title. So I don't know about you, but I'm certainly gonna think that the number 1 team would have that advantage with that home title.
Yeah, and I think that the other thing worth bringing up is we've been talking a little bit about this bracket, and we'll hear a little bit more about League OS later on, but that's who we've got this bracket through. That's who's giving us all these beautiful graphics, and they're going to be telling us that the matchup that, Cherry, you were talking about earlier, that Portage versus HSE matchup, that is on the other side of the bracket. So Carmel and Westfield, who we'll be watching today, going to be fighting their way through onto the next stage of the bracket, and the winner of this matchup is going to be fighting either, like you said, that number 2 seed or that number 11 seed over there in match 11. And we're still, Cherry, a long ways out from that finals match. That one's going to be played almost a full month from today. It's actually April 26th is what we've got that one written down as, and we have got some very, very cool news, because this one's not going to be played online, Cherry. This one is going to be on LAN in person at Ball State University. So if you guys want to watch that one, definitely tune in April 26th at 12 p.m. Eastern time and get involved in that finals. But Cherry, in order to get to the finals, you got to go through one of these two teams as we get underway here between Carmel and Westfield.
And immediately, you got to give that experience over to Westfield. They've been through the ringer, having to play in round 1, but it's not going to matter because it's Carmel scoring the first goal instantly off the kickoff.
And blink and you'll miss it, man. We've seen so many of these fast kickoff-style goals. We'll add one more to the tally here for Carmel. Not quite exactly off of the kickoff. I mean, we got at least a little bit of driving around to happen beforehand, but still a very early goal, a very early strike here, allowing them to get to the point where they are now sitting a lot more comfortably as we begin to get underway with the remainder of this game. It's going to be Carmel with the blue cars. Those would be the guys that you just saw get that first goal. Across the way, the away team is going to be Westfield picking up that green color. And Ferry misses the ball coming through, trying to pick that one up. Looks like maybe thought a teammate was coming forward or got a bad angle, but that bounces directly past them thanks to that good touch from Carmel at the end. And Cherry, what was a 1-0 lead 5 seconds in, now a 2-0 lead 30.
Over as their logo, certainly not going to be able to bring it into fruition, getting that luck, and instantly Carmel able to bring this ball back over to the side of Westfield. A good demolition to make this a 2 versus 3 situation on the front, but it's just going to be Carmel keeping up the pressure, and Westfield, they're looking to stop it, but that halt is not going to come out, and there's Chris with another.
This one's going to be credit from Restless Sparrow. You can see sharpening that ball into the corner and drawing a lot of attention so that Chris can kind of sneak in unnoticed there in the front and just tap that one forward. This is a very explosive start from Carmel. I mean, again, I don't want to undersell the fact, Cherry, that this is our #1 seeded team coming in. So like you were saying, if you were a betting man, Carmel the one that you're probably putting your money on. But Westfield are here for a very good reason. They're a solid squad of their own. You would anticipate that with the way things are going, it's only a matter of time before the bounce back happens. The question is just how much damage you're going to take before Westfield can find their footing in this game and really start to strike in their own right.
Well, if you're Carmel, they struck while the iron was hot, so Westfield, at this point, they're not in a bad situation. They've been able to calm the game, weather the storm, but now you have to be able to bring some goals on your side. 3 minutes are only what you have in this game, so Carmel certainly is going to want to kind of put some more goals up, making sure that they can conclude this early on, but obviously there's no real need to. This is the best of 5 series. This is a marathon, not a sprint race, so if you want to be a winner here at Westfield, you're going to have to shrug this game off, because it is very unlikely that you can bring it back. But a great touch from Farah to take that shot, and a little bit of an own goal.
Yeah, that'll happen sometimes. We call those unforced errors, or sometimes forced errors is actually what it seems like here. Chris is going to be responsible for taking that one toward the Westfield goal, and then as all of the players in the green cars try to swarm that ball and prevent it from going into the net. Unfortunately, one of them do get a good touch on it. It goes the wrong way. So Carmel, like you were saying, this is maybe a situation where you're beginning to think about game 2 here for Westfield. It is not unheard of, Cherry, to score 5 points in 2.5 minutes, but certainly not common that something like that would happen. It really has been a lot of this Carmel squad's offense so far. Westfield having a bit of difficulty getting it out of their own side of the field and keeping control of this ball because of how much good control that Carmel has had. They'll get another shot here, trying to go off that top backboard. Chris comes in for the kill once more, but can't quite find it.
If it wasn't for Mr. Mekki, they're able to take the hit and kind of bring Carmel out of danger. That was almost an open goal for Westfield to secure at least one on the board. X trying to get something more here, but can go a little bit too high, and that will just kind of be unfortunate, but they want to try and re-engage, but persistence will unfortunately go be countered a little bit with Carmel bringing it back over to Westfield's side. This ball just angling straight in front of the net.
We're watching some collegiate Rocket League last night. It was a lot of play off of that top backboard. You can see that is the favorite at this high school level as well. Both Westfield and Carmel trying to do it off the backboard, but man, Carmel don't even seem to need the setup on a lot of these opportunities as they push another one through. Chris manages to get this one crossed over to Sparrow. He'll finish that one beautifully there. A 67-mile-an-hour goal for Restless Sparrow to put them up 5-0 here over Westfield. If you wanted to come in hot, if you wanted to set the precedent for this set, Jerry, you were mentioning, marathon, not a sprint, long best of 5 here. This is absolutely the kind of energy you want to come into these longer sets with. And what a beautiful control there from Chris. I don't even get to stop talking before another Carmel goal comes through.
Chris has certainly been that playmaker for the side of Carmel. They're currently on 4 goals, and they have just been that player who's able to rebound shots time and time again. Westfield certainly needs to make some kind of change because as of now, Carmel is going to be able to win that kickoff once more, control the ball, and it keeps on going their favor. Finally, a decent shot will come through. Unfortunately, it's a little bit too far to the left, and Westfield's looking a little bit stronger than they were in previous rounds, but it's not enough for me to really get help with big match.
6-0, a very tall mountain to climb, with only 45 seconds to do so. Westfield probably considering what went wrong here, what kind of changes you can make going into game number 2. We'd love to at least get something on the board here, if nothing else, just for a morale boost to go into game number 2. The way Carmel's been playing with the incredible control that they've had of this ball, I'm not sure that Westfield is going to get the opportunity here. We need to do some out-of-game consideration and a little bit of discussion on what went wrong and more specifically what went right, because honestly it hasn't been a ton here for Westfield. That was a great shot, didn't quite make it in as Chris R and the rest of Carmel swarm the front of their goal and prevent that shot from Westfield from finding a home. It really does feel like a numbers game, Cherry. I mean, we'll take a look at the stats here. It really did feel like the big ticket item is the number of shots on goal. You can see here for Carmel, it's 4 for Chris, it's 8 in total for the team. And across the way, only 4 shots as a whole for Westfield going in the opposite direction. There's only so many saves you can make. There's only so accurate you can be with those shots. You got to create these opportunities.
It really has just been a situation where Westfield hasn't been able to find an answer for the flexibility that Carmel has been trying to put on the field. They've been time and time again having Chris being able to pilot a car and just changing their velocity and changing how they're approaching the goal. It gives them that idea where now Westfield will not have an option to score. Going up towards heights, they want to try and fight. A good touch comes in from Westfield, and that's going to do it. Radioactive, the first goal of this game. Westfield, they've had none so far this series, but finally, they're going to be off the races, and now Carmel's going to be on the back foot. But the question becomes, can Westfield continue this aggression?
Good cross there from Westfield in a 50-50 with Chris R, who has been sort of the standout player so far for Carmel, and Westfield get the better end of that one and pick up their first goal of this set, putting them in a lead, but it won't last for very long as Mr. Mecki, off of that right corner bounce, will manage to take this one in. And speaking of Chris, he's going to be the one setting all of this up, and Mr. Mecki threads the needle between 2 Westfield defenders to put that one in and equalize in just under, I want to say like 5 seconds, Jerry. I mean, we're not talking very long that Westfield got to have this lead.
And we're going to see time and time again here, Westfield trying to bring this ball back, but it's going to be 2 defenders on 2 attackers. Mr. Mecki trying to block that ball, but unfortunately their physicality will not be enough to keep in the way. It's still going to be on the side of Carmel's turf, and keep going towards the high ground and not really finding much. Westfield still just trying to get back on that defense, flooding back, but Mr. Mecki with ball, really just a player you do not want to let in that box that really can become so detrimental to your team, because Westfield, as we see time and time again, Chris R able to bounce it back, and Mr. Mecki to take it to the goal.
Another excellent pass there from Chris off the left side. You can see waiting on that opportunity and then flips around off the wall, crosses it over, then has a teammate waiting right in the middle there. excellent combination attack there from Carmel to give them the lead once more. About 3 minutes and 45 seconds of play, and a demo, hang on a second, right in front of the goal. That one almost just bounces in at 1 mile an hour. Westfield do manage to clear that one out, but Jerry, some of these goals just feel like they're waiting to happen, like nothing can prevent them. I don't know, some kind of black magic happened there, but nothing is going to be likely to stop that except for the upright.
Oh, but there's going to be radioactive J-Dog to block it out. Some good stuff coming in from them. I know what you're saying, because some of these goals just seemed like Westfield just were not really prepared for it. But that last goal scored by Carmel was nonetheless of exception. They had a phenomenal combination, which allowed them to work hand in hand together, securing that goal. And seems like we might see something a little bit less impressive, to be totally honest. Okay, never mind.
Wow, a couple of good opportunities there for Westfield, and they can't manage to cash the check. So instead, going the other way, it's going to be Carmel. It's going to be another shot off that top backboard. And instead, it will get cleared out to the right side of the field. And Westfield, I mean, they're making such better opportunities, but they're just not capitalizing the same way that Carmel is. And Chris will say thank you to that one and take that one all by themselves from that corner off of the vehicle of Ferry. A big thank you to Ferry for that assist, says Chris, and a big thank you to Landfest as well for helping us build healthy communities through gaming, Sherry. With 23 chapters across 18 states, over 150 events a year. You can find an event near you at landfest.com. If you want to get involved in some of this high school, some of this collegiate esports action, just as both of these squads are, and just as Radioactive Dog is, getting another great shot here for Westfield, getting them back within striking distance of Carmel off of that 1v1 against Sparrow.
It's just 2 in a row where we've kind of seen players just being able to utilize the opponent's cars and score goals off of it. First it was Carmel, now Westfield will do the exact same thing. Both of these teams are doing a strong job at being able to take some goals, but Westfield is looking like a whole new team, and they're going to make Carmel get even stronger. And that adaptation, it's so good from them. All 3 players not able to handle this ball that's just coming from the air, and the demolition is nothing to scoff at. It really does let Westfield get even more scarce when it comes to having potential to block that. So Carmel now doubling Westfield's goals once more. Let's see if they can bring it further.
Sparrow with a good carry here and actually has a good shot at it. Mr. Mekki comes sliding in underneath that one. What an excellent control of this ball from Restless Sparrow, setting up this opportunity for the teammate. Again, coming in between 2 members of Westfield to get that one done and put them back up 3 points in the lead. Much higher scoring game for both sides than we saw in the previous game. But it is still Carmel sitting comfortably in the lead here, and Westfield still with a couple of questions left to answer if they want to walk away with one of these games.
Oh, and that's going straight on in. That's so unfortunate. Carmel with another great shot from the height, and look at that. It's just going straight on in. Ferriex trying to boost it a little bit higher to hit that crossbar, but unfortunately, Carmel to score another goal in Westfield. They're still down 1-0 in this series. You go down 2-0, it does put you on series points, and you don't want to go out in the semifinals here, but Carmel doesn't really seem to be giving them a choice. This is a big lead, and they're just going to start suffocating the mentality of Westfield within this.
It seems like Carmel already have their hotels booked over by Ball State for that LAN finals, and who could blame them with gameplay like this? Up 6-2, we got about 1:15 left on the clock, and we got one more point on the scoreboard for Carmel. Mr. Mekki, tell me if you've seen this one before. Chris with an excellent cross coming off that corner. Mr. Mekki coming flying in at just the right moment to push that one in with nobody in goal for Westfield. Essentially pulling the goalie here down enough points that they recognize you got to generate some offense if you want to come back. That means you got to sacrifice some defense along the way, Jerry.
Field, this ball, this dribbling, they're almost securing it, but Chris R to block it off. Stomping out the path, Ferriex trying to go for the goal, but that might just do it! And that's gonna be El Banshee to score the first goal for themselves, and Look at that. It's going off, and it's going straight on into that front wheel. And with the DSM logo on the car, the team might not have survived in North America, but Westfield certainly is going to be putting up some signs of life.
Get another shot here. Hang on a second. 2 cars from Carmel cross paths there, trying to keep that ball out. They do manage to deprive another goal from Westfield. They'd have to get about 1 goal per 10 seconds here, Cherry, to find their way to a victory in game number 2. Not an easy thing to do, especially with how Carmel have been playing. So you gotta imagine they've got to play very aggressively here. I mentioned pulling the goalie. There's that hockey reference for you, and well, when the goalie's not at home, Cherry, it makes it very easy for Mr. Mekki to get this pass from Restless Sparrow. And then get another one floating in. Another unfortunate touch from Westfield is the final blow that leads this one into the goal, but definitely set up by the excellent play of Carmel once more.
All right, Westfield, they're down and out. They've been put through the ringer. This is where you gotta really explode. 17 seconds remaining to score 5. It's gonna be excessively difficult. And Carmel just looking for another consolation goal, but Westfield not going to concede anything just yet. Instead, the ball will go in, and Fairvex going to keep this game alive with 4 seconds remaining. It's unlikely that they can win. They're not going to slouch over just yet. Instead, Westfield will secure at least 1 more.
That was a long duration replay. I almost thought that was going the other way, but Westfield, you're absolutely right. Fairvex showing some signs of life here in the twilight stages of game number 2. And it is unlikely, as that one almost rolls in, that we see 4 points unanswered without the ball touching the ground. I mean, we're talking about the incredible odds of a March Madness bracket. I think that's likely to happen more so than 4 points in that kind of situation, as Carmel will walk away with game number 2 and put themselves up 2-0 match point in Carmel's favor in game number 3. So we get another look at these stats, and once again, man, it is all Carmel all the time on these shots. Mr. Mekki really getting to shine in that one as our MVP. 8 shots on goal, Cherry, more than the entirety of the Westfield roster in game number 2.
Carmel as well. That was almost 9 goals to 4 at the end there, unfortunately for them. That last ball did run out of time, and the momentum was not there to carry it through. So, 5 minutes remaining until this good game could concede. Or not concede, but this game could be won out. So, I want to get your opinion, guys. Do we believe in a game number 4?
And I love to be a believer, and I'll say it just for the hopes of keeping the dream alive for Westfield, because they've had an excellent season coming in here. We always want to see more Rocket League. We always want to see more of this Westfield squad. So I think they've got it in them to take away game number 3 here and bring us to that game number 4. And I'd like to see it come off of an early start like they had in game number 2. Don't forget, at least for a little bit in that one, they had the lead, their only lead of this set, Cherry. They ended up getting it taken away from them pretty quickly by Carmel. If they can get off to a good start for the Green Cars, I do think that they've got it in them to be able to walk away with at least one of these games.
Oh, look at that touch and go. That's so good. But Grizz are going to have to really catch up to this momentum, and a good hit from them, bringing this ball to center field. And the Electric Dog looking to take the pass. Not just yet. Restless Sparrow going to hit it up, but there's so many players on the defensive, so now they will have to concede any chances of scoring off of that. And Eric's trying to hit, but it might go back on through, but there's still one player in the defense to limit anything. Carmel, let's see whether or not they can bring it back. This counterattack will happen, but his ball is in the corner, so there's not really much opportunity for this one.
Carmel has been lethal in these corner situations, though. They've got really good crossing, but it's actually going to be Westfield now driving the way toward the boost. Ferries will be picking that one up. Unfortunately, had to make a detour for it. Couldn't grab the ball, which means now, well, hang on a second. Plenty of boost to work with here. Ferries will just drive this one straight into the goal, Cherry. Chris was there to play defense, but couldn't get there fast enough. And the 1v1 successful for Westfield, and exactly like you draw it up, Westfield walk away from the first 2 minutes with a 1-0 lead.
I gotta tell you, Kaizo, I really liked how that was played. Just the fact that Westfield had the intuition to stop that ball from going up and down and keeping up the momentum it had. They stopped it and halted any chance, and that just allowed them to dribble straight on through. That's something that this team really has been good at, just dribbling through, and that's how they've been able to find a lot of good goals. Meanwhile, Carmel, when it goes rough and they need to play for a 50-50, they've been the team to beat. So I love how they tried that, but unfortunately that idea from them did not continue to work, because Carmel, they're certainly not in the best spot. Let's see whether or not they can score another, but as of now, Westfield just has to play keep away for 2.5 minutes. Ball will go down, and they're trying to spin it on over, but a great physicality hit to just stop that ball's momentum, but not for long. An open goal gets Restless the kill and brings them to 1-1.
These are these corner situations, man. Carmel getting the better end of a lot of these. Seems like whenever that ball kicks out of the corner, there's always a blue car waiting for it, always somebody prepared to drive that one straight into the goal. And you mentioned Restless Sparrow responsible for grabbing that one. Almost a very quick kickoff goal, going in both directions there, but both teams did have a defender at home. We've got about 2 minutes left in the semifinals, game number 3, all tied up, Jerry, between Westfield and Carmel, but Westfield needed to ride that momentum for as long as possible. They had the lead for, once again, not the longest period of time, but it at least does give them a little bit of comfort, and well, you're wishing that you had some of that right now as Restless Sparrow takes another excellent pass. Chris R gets that one once again off of this corner and bounces it directly into their teammate and gets another score to take the lead here. They are so good at those corners.
It's been really strong from Carmel to be able to change that direction their car is heading in, and they want to do it again, and they will do it again with Mr. going for the next, and that's gonna be Mr. Mekki scoring it off. Look at this pass from Restless Sparrow, and they go straight on into that goal. It's a little bit empty with nobody there, and due to that, it really just became the side of Westfield's detriment that allowed Carmel to take the win. Now, 3-1, minute 50 remaining. It's definitely not impossible, but Carmel has been a team that time and time again, when going gets rough, they are so strong and so composed.
With an opportunity here off the right side of the goal, and that ping sound comes through letting you know that one hit the crossbar. Unfortunately, didn't quite manage to bounce its way in for them. So they'll have to play a little bit more defense here if they want another opportunity for a score. Mr. Mekki backing up, a better view of the field here as Radioactive Dog and the rest of Westfield just trying to keep the ball out of their own goal. Mr. Mekki, the pass to the left-hand side, and will forfeit possession to Westfield. We'll see a 50-50 between Banshee and Chris R. Doesn't end up paying out dividends for Westfield as the ball bounces back into their territory. 1 minute remaining, Jerry, and 1 minute of playoff hopes for Westfield to score at least 2 more goals and push us into overtime to avoid elimination.
If it wasn't for 2 players over by the goal, it might have been Westfield's game to bring themselves back into, but unfortunately Carmel keeping a couple players, making sure that this lead will be maintained, and like they want to try and get a little bit more aggression on the front foot, but Westfield only able to bring it towards the midfield and get a little bit of race in that momentum, but horizontal lead will not come through because it seems as if there's not enough on that vertical. So let's see whether or not they can do much. Ball keeps on going, and it will continuously miss that side. But Westfield, they have 10 seconds. They need to bring something down, but it seems as if that's just not going to be the case.
Yeah, 5 seconds left, and that's not what you want to see if you're a fan of the Cars in Green. Westfield now down 3 scores as another opportunity capitalized on here. Tell me if you've seen this one. Chris waiting around in the goal, gets a good touch, and Mr. Mekki comes in for the follow-up. And that should be the last nail in the coffin for this Westfield squad. 3 seconds ticking down. Their playoff hopes, unfortunately, have been eliminated here in the semifinals. 1 more goal for Restless Sparrow just to add insult to injury. And Carmel, Cherry, an explosive performance on their way to those finals at Ball State. Congratulations to them for putting up one hell of a fight here against Westfield.
That was insane from the side of Carmel. Westfield, unfortunately, just not having that momentum and not enough gas in the tank to be able to bring them to a lead. So Westfield, they will be going home here, but that was a good run from them. They were the number 5 seed, able to make an upset against the number 4 to make it into the semifinals. But Carmel, that number 1 seed, they certainly are a force to be reckoned with. Westfield, got to give them props. They certainly looked good at times. Unfortunately, that domination from Carmel just looked so much better.
And you can see very high scoring games as well for Carmel. Usually these ones go into maybe 3, maybe 4 points, 5 tops, but walking away with a 6-0 shutout in game number 1, and then continuing the pattern with very high scoring games, games 2 and 3, just demonstrating the offensive prowess of this Carmel team. Definitely one that you've got to keep an eye on. You can't allow domination of the field or ball control, because these opportunities just seem to be rolling in their favor every single time, Cherry. Anytime they swarm the goal, if they get a pass going in that direction, I mean, it seems like there's nothing that can stand between them and adding one more point to the board.
Yeah, that definitely was a extremely good game from both of these teams, but as we know, these teams certainly can go over to LOS Portal, because do you want to play esports in college? Now there's a way to search through hundreds of collegiate esports programs to see where they are, what games they play, and even what majors they do offer. Just go to portal.leagueos.gg to search, and IEN students can also sign in to manage their own prospect profiles, where all of their stats automatically update match over match. There are scholarships out there for players, as well as shoutcasters, social media managers, and more. So make sure you add all of your talents to your profile. Verified college esports coaches are also searching LOS Portal now for promising prospects and reaching out to the ones they like. And LOS Portal is free for students. Don't miss your chance to get discovered. Visit portal.leagueos.gg today and take your game to the next level.
And you know, Cherry, I've got my League OS open on my right monitor right now, taking a look at the bracket following that matchup. And again, don't want to undersell the fact that Carmel, with this win over Westfield, advancing to those finals at Ball State, they're going to be your number 1 seed, making it all the way. There is still a number 2 seed alive on the other side of that bracket. That's going to be Portage, who are going up against HSE Varsity Rocket League on April 10th. So we'll find out who's going to be fighting off against Carmel at that LAN a little bit later on in the following month. But Cherry, that's going to do it for us. I mean, it was a sweet one, but definitely an explosive performance for Carmel here. Thank you once again to League OS Portal, Zotac Gaming, and LANFest for helping to make this stream possible. And thank you to Connie and Taylor and everybody at LANFest in the background, making sure everybody goes off without a hitch. I've been Kaizo, that's been Cherry. That's going to do it for us, but if you want a little bit more IEN action, we've got some more coming your way. Valorant on April 7th is going to be our next time that we will be seeing you. That's going to be going down at 4 p.m. EST. But for the time being, I've been Kaizo, that's been Cherry. We'll catch you in the next one.